One-off test matches might just be the thing that saves test cricket. I know that sounds dramatic, but hear me out, because right now, the longest form of the game is facing a very real problem. Not in England, not in Australia, not in India, but almost everywhere else. Test cricket is expensive, it's time-consuming, and in many countries, it doesn't make any money at all. And that's where this idea comes in. The ICC are now seriously considering allowing one-off test matches to count towards the World Test Championship, which is a pretty big shift, because right now, to be a part of the World Test Championship, you need to play a minimum of a 2-match series, and that's where things start to fall apart. Let's just break down how the World Test Championship currently works. Each team plays 6 series over a 2-year cycle, 3 at home and 3 away. And those series are agreed bilaterally, which basically means the big teams play the big teams. Australia play England, India play Australia, England play India, and then everyone else is just sort of fitting in where they can. Now here's the issue. There are 12 full member teams in world cricket, but only 9 teams currently play in the World Test Championship, which means Zimbabwe, Ireland, and Afghanistan are basically locked out of the system. They play test cricket, they have test status, but they don't get consistent, meaningful opportunities. And part of that reason is very simple and to an extent understandable: money. Because if you're a bigger board, hosting a 2-test series against a smaller nation can be a financial loss. You've got to pay for travel, accommodation, broadcasting, stadium operations, and the crowds just aren't always there. We've seen so many tests around the world take place in front of virtually empty stadiums. I mean, sometimes we see T20 tournaments in front of empty stadiums, but that's a different matter altogether. From a purely business point of view, it doesn't make sense. And this is where one-off tests come in, because suddenly you don't need to commit to a full series. You can just schedule a single test match, maybe at the start of a tour, maybe at the end of a tour, maybe as a standalone event in between 2 other tournaments. And crucially, it can still count towards the World Test Championship. That changes everything. Now let's talk history, because one-off tests aren't a new thing. They've existed for decades. In fact, the very first test match ever played in 1877 was technically a one-off. Over the years, we've had standalone tests like England versus Zimbabwe in 2003, Ireland's early tests against Pakistan and England, Afghanistan's first tests against India and Bangladesh. More recently, we've seen England host one-off tests at the start of the summer. They're often treated like warm-ups, but imagine if they actually meant something. Imagine if those matches carried WTC points. WTC sounds like a boxing organization, doesn't it? World Test Championship, you know what I'm talking about. Suddenly, they're not just fixtures, they're stakes. And here's the key point. Test cricket doesn't need more quantity necessarily. It needs more context, more meaning, more reason for fans to care. Because right now, outside of the big series that I've already talked about, a lot of Test cricket feels optional. And that's a problem, because we're talking about the most important format in the game, the real test. It's called Test cricket for a reason. Let's also be honest about scheduling, by the way. International cricket is packed. The calendar, there's no space. You've got bilateral series, ICC events, franchise leagues all over the world. There is no realistic scenario where every team plays every team in a proper multi-match test series. It's not going to happen. You're not going to get England and Bangladesh playing a 5-match test series. It's not going to happen. India and Pakistan, forget about that. Politically, logistically, financially, it's not going to happen. So you have to find a middle ground. And one-off tests might be exactly that. They allow smaller nations to get more opportunities, bigger nations to host without huge financial risk, and the WTC to actually include all test-playing countries. That's a big deal, because right now, the system is slightly exclusive. And when I say exclusive, I don't mean that in a good way. I mean excluding. And Test cricket can't afford to exclude or be exclusive. Not anymore. Of course, there are downsides. A one-off test series doesn't have the same narrative of a test series. So a one-off test, I should say. It's not a series anymore, is it? There's no comeback. There's no redemption arc. No, we'll get them next week. It's just a one game. You win or you don't. Maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe that makes it more intense. More like a final, more like an event. And think about it from a fan's perspective. If England are playing a one-off test against Ireland and it actually matters for the WTC, you're watching it differently. You're not just, we'll keep up to date, let's see who's doing well, which players are looking good for the Ashes or whatever. It's not a warm-up, it's not a novelty, it's a proper test match with consequences. And for players, it matters even more because suddenly every test, even a standalone one, feeds into something bigger. So here's where I land on this. This is just my opinion. Is it perfect? No. Is it traditional? Also no. But Test cricket has never survived by standing still. It evolves, it adapts, it finds ways to stay relevant. You get pink ball tests, day-night tests, all sorts of things. Even the World Test Championship itself. Right now, Test cricket needs help because the alternative is this. A world where only 3 or 4 countries play meaningful Test cricket and everyone else gets left behind or stops caring. And that would be a disaster. So if the choice is rigid structures that exclude teams or flexible ones that bring more countries in, I think the answer is pretty clear. One-off tests might not be the perfect solution, but they might be the necessary one. And in modern cricket, that might be the best that we can hope for right now. That's what I think anyway. I know this is a very contentious issue. Please do leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please do give me a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I will see you soon.